A very good morning to everyone, and welcome to this new Eurocommerce policy talk. And today, our guest politician for this policy talk is no one less than Commissioner Stella Kyriakides, who is Commissioner for Health and Food Safety. And in that portfolio is, of course, the primary responsible within the European Commission for the Farm to Fork strategy, which is what we're going to talk about today in the next hour. And we have also a number of our great guests that will be as well as panelists that will debate with the commissioner and with us. So we have Bertrand Zwizdewski, who is the Director for Corporate Social Responsibility at the Carrefour Group, well known to everyone, the global leader in retailer. We have Elena Caravaggio, who is Health and Safety Executive and worked within the Corporate Security Office at Esselunga, the leading Italian retailer. And we also have Veronica Punceva, who is the Global Director for Corporate Responsibility at Metro Group, Metro AG, the very well-known and leading food wholesalers, who is providing food to a number of HoReCa and small businesses all over Europe. So welcome all to the show. I think we're going to discuss about farm to fork strategy, and in that I wanted to preface the debate by saying that retail and wholesalers have really been pioneer in providing and demonstrating and sustainable practices in relation to providing more sustainable food. They do that in providing, taking leadership on front of pack initiative, on country of origin labeling, on reducing food waste, on reducing and optimizing packaging, also on encouraging their consumers to live healthier lifestyles, and also working upstream in all their supply chain to encourage more sustainable practices. And what we have seen, what the COVID-19 has learned and has taught us, is that cooperation within the supply chain is fundamental. And the cooperation from the farmers to the food manufacturers to the retailers has enabled that the whole food supply chain has been able to fulfill its very essential function in providing food to all European citizens. And it is thanks to these cooperations that we, despite, I think, the major upheavals in the market, in the disruptions we've seen in the markets, in barriers being closed, that all the Europeans have continued to have had access to foods, which is, of course, essential to life. And that cooperation is also very important for the farm to fork strategy. If we want to move the needle and shift practices, shift consumer behaviors, shift farm practices, we have to work very much along the lines within the cooperation. And that is something that, again, lessons learned from the crisis. What the COVID crisis has also learned is, and we've done this, we've recently published a report with the McKinsey company, has shown that actually 50%, that's half of the consumer, are really clear that they want to buy, they want to live healthier life, buy healthier food and more sustainable, lifestyle. So this is quite important. At the same time, we also have seen that there is the economic crisis, that there is at least a quarter of customers, of consumers, who also are quite keen to make sure that they can meet ends needs, and will probably be able to trade down. So consumer wants it all. They want, of course, affordable food, and at the same time, they also want healthier food. So this is what we're going to discuss, and this is what the farm to fork strategy is aiming to achieve. So Commissioner Kyriakides, we're keen to hear from you about how do you see the objectives of the farm to fork, and how we can help. I hope you have had the opportunity to have a look at our website, because the occasion of that's the most important thing as well is we're doing this policy talk on the occasion of the launch of the Sustainable Commerce website, whereby over the past several months, we have gathered and collected a number of best practices from our members, primarily member companies, but also member associations, whereby They are encouraging consumers. They operate to live healthier life, providing better choices to consumers, also improving their own practices, and also working, with their suppliers up to the farm level to improve the practices towards more sustainable food. So we've gathered all of these websites. So the website will be live today. Make sure you all watch it. But I know you've had the opportunity to preview it, Commissioner Kyriakides. So we're keen to hear how you feel about it, how you feel about the role that retailers and wholesalers have played and will play, and what do you expect, from our sector, and how we can help you achieve your strategy. Commissioner Kyriakides, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to be here with you today, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm delighted to be joining you for the launch of the new Eurocommerce website. As you have said in your opening remarks, delivering a global food system that really offers healthy and adequate diets for all is a huge challenge. But it is a challenge that we must meet. And it's a challenge that we must meet, and there can be no plan B because there is no planet B. And that is why I'm very glad to see that we share the same aims. The Farm to Fork strategy is positioned at the heart of the EU's ambitious Green Deal, and it encourages sustainable practices. What the strategy does is it recognizes that healthy people and healthy societies can only come from a healthy planet. And since we adopted this strategy last May, it has become a real talking point. Many companies are now signing up to its aims and using it to showcase their efforts. And this also applies to Eurocommerce and is reflected in the welcome prominence your website gives to sustainability and the farm to fork approach. Also, the timing in launching the new website, I believe, is excellent. Because we all agree that we need to make the shift towards sustainability, and we need to make this shift happen fast. We need to take action across the food value chain and beyond to include finance and research. In other words, and we have been advocating this now for a very long time, that we need to a really truly integrated approach in order to drive change. And let me try and share with you how we see your contribution, which we consider to be vital. I'll start with healthy lifestyles. This is, of course, an issue close not only to my own heart, but to all our hearts, especially because we're living through this unprecedented public health crisis for now over a year. The EU and the member states are working to meet the World Health Organization targets and sustainable development goals in this area. Yet we know that poor diets and physical inactivity are fueling a rise in non-communicable diseases and obesity in the European Union, and these are in turn impacting our own economies and our social systems. So your sector's focus on promoting sustainable and healthy lifestyles is extremely important. Likewise, I believe we can all agree that consumer information is key, and labeling is a great means of indicating product sustainability. Here too, we are all involved, thanks to the regulatory initiatives on one hand, and your campaigns and loyalty schemes featuring healthy products on the other. Giving consumers clearer information and helping them make healthy choices easily are central aims of the Farm to Fork strategy. Now, these are reflected in 4, I would say, initiatives that we are currently working on and are of particular relevance to the retail world, to all of you. To start with, front-of-pack nutrition labeling. This will help consumers make informed and healthy food choices. There are several voluntary schemes on the European market, and many retailers already include nutritional information on their own brand products. To promote consistency across the EU internal market, the Commission will be proposing a harmonized, mandatory front-of-pack nutrition labeling scheme based on sound scientific evidence and an impact assessment and following public consultation. Nutrient profiles. Nutrient profiles restricting the promotion of foods with unhealthy profiles will also help to shift towards healthier diets and encourage product reformation. Many retailers have already led the way here, cutting down on salt, on sugar, or fat content in their brands. Thirdly, extending mandatory origin labeling. This will be extended to certain foods, and it aims to allow consumers to make more informed and sustainable food choices. While our initiative is designed primarily to support consumer choices, it also ties in with your approach to sustainable sourcing and to considering the carbon footprint when selecting your suppliers. And finally, changes on the dates of date marking, which could prevent consumers from discarding foods unnecessarily and reduce unacceptable levels of food waste. Ladies and gentlemen, it also makes sense for us to work together on sustainable practices more generally. Take food packaging, for example, where retail and wholesale sectors are taking their responsibility seriously. This is good news, as consumers have now become very sensitive to this issue. We are planning new regulatory measures on food packaging, notably revising the food contact material legislation to support the Circular Economy Action Plan with clear rules on alternative packaging, reuse, and recycling. Meanwhile, the food sector's push for better internal processes and fewer unnecessary costs can only be a positive mood. Speaking of positive action, I want to commend you for your tremendous efforts during the current pandemic. You have kept wholesome foods in constant supply and continue to pursue your sustainability goals. But I also want to finish by mentioning at the end the Code of Conduct. Future regulatory measures under the Farm to Fork strategy, we know, all of us know, are going to take time. So to speed up this transition to sustainable food systems, the Commission has asked the private sector for an ambitious commitment via the Code of Conduct. In response, food manufacturers and the retail, food service, and hospitality sectors have come together to establish goals and steps to boost healthy and sustainable consumption patterns and to make their internal processes and supply chain processes more sustainable. I use the phrase "come together." I use this phrase deliberately because this is not about everyone doing the same thing. Instead, it is about pooling individual efforts in a much-needed coordinated response to achieve a common goal. With the Code of Conduct, we want to show that such commitments can work and add value. The discussions held so far show great willingness on the part of all concerned to work together. Together, we can do more, and together, we can do better. The Code has the potential to be a real game changer that benefits our health and our planet's health too. If suppliers and consumers work to the same ends, we can find forms of cooperation that we had not thought possible until recently. I realize, of course, here that I am preaching to the converted. So I hope Eurocommerce will sign up to this code in June. We're also looking for tangible, ambitious commitments from individual companies. And I invite all your members to join the discussions on a framework for these commitments. Ladies and gentlemen, while there is much to do, I need to recognize that you're already doing excellent work. You rightly see your commitment to sustainable practices as a win-win situation. I hope the practices that your new website showcases will inspire others. The retail and wholesale sectors are very strong, and I call on you to use this strength in pursuing the pioneering role that Mr. Versheuren has already highlighted. With this in mind, I look forward to hearing from the three companies that will share the sustainability commitments in the following presentations and to sharing further thoughts with you. And also, as I never cease to take the opportunity as Commissioner of Health and Food Safety, is to wish you all to keep safe in the pandemic to follow the measures that are in place, because it is important that if we have learned anything out of this pandemic, and we're constantly learning, is the strength of unity, the strength of solidarity in action. And this, I hope, is going to be also the way forward when working towards sustainable food practices and implementing our farm to fork strategy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And let me, on your last remark, take the opportunity to, on behalf of all Europeans, to thank you for the leadership role you have played in the pandemic, together with a number of other commissioners. I know it has been a team effort within the Commission to ensure, despite a lot of very often unfair criticism, I think the great actions that have been undertaken by the European Union to ensure solidarity, to ensure to keep the borders open, to ensure joint procurement of vaccines. People don't often realize, what it would be without the power of the European Union there. So thank you for that and for the role that you play in that. So back on farm to fork, and before giving the floor to our dear colleagues here, just to say maybe a couple of words in terms of that we overarching support for the direction of travel that is set in the farm to fork strategy, and that includes, of course, also on the code of conduct. With, of course, some nuances. I'm sure you have heard directly or from your services that we are keen that, of course, the code of conduct does take into account the number of existing initiatives that are already taking place, so that the operators do not have to reinvent the wheel. That, of course, every retailers does it in a way that responds best to its customers' needs and its own business model. And as a result of that, I think it is quite essential for us as a sector that we can keep also the commercial freedom that is essential to to drive competition, to drive customer needs, and that, of course, the timeline is realistic. I know it's we all share your ambition, but I think it's important that we also make sure that we can realize the ambition in a reasonable way. And of course, a number of companies have already been engaged on a number of those initiatives themselves, and therefore I think it is important to see how they can continue that journey, accelerate that journey within the farm to fork, and without having to completely derail the train they're already on. So just as a sort of a preamble, key remarks on the farm to fork, and specifically on the code of conduct. So let me now turn to our guests here, and I'll start with, and basically I would like to ask each of them the same sort of questions that will be most helpful to you. I think, Stella, in the sense that why is it important to invest for your company to invest in sustainability? How can the farm to fork strategy, you've heard the key elements of it from the commissioner, how can that strategy help? And then maybe specifically, what are the key enablers? Where can the commissioner really, if you like, active? There's one or two things, this is now your moment of fame to lobby the commissioner, if you like. What are the key three things that you would like the commission to concentrate, that would be important for you and your company to really make that acceleration in the sustainability strategy? And again, I'll start with you, Elena.
Good morning to all, and thank you for this opportunity. Let me introduce you Esselunga first. Esselunga is an Italian retail, but it's also food company. And for this reason, we are involved both as producer and as retailers in a food sustainability. In fact, Esselunga is a showcase, and we have a direct dialogue with many suppliers, and we talk to millions of customers. Our supply chain involves many companies and products. For example, as producer, we have suppliers that provide basic components for food, give us packaging for our lines in our plants. Furthermore, as retailers, there are suppliers that give us finished packages and food ready for sale. And we have millions of customers, and the customers' environmental awareness grows more and more and over time, and must be encouraged and supported by retail. We can no longer ignore this expectation, and now we think it's necessary to follow a sustainable development approach. To follow and to support this process, it's necessary to involve the entire supply chain. In fact, the strategy, this process, in this process, a single weak link can create critical issues both towards the internal target of company and towards the consumers. We think that a clear strategy with plans involves the supply chain has impact on it, and on retailers and on food companies as well. It's important that everyone is committed for a common goal, and it's important to transfer the targets so the entire chain keeps balanced. At the end of this chain, there is the final consumer, and the consumer should be more aware and understand about the cost-benefit ratio of sustainability choices. Therefore, it's important to raise awareness to the entire system, because the strategy is successful if all actors work to the common goal. For us, the key is the partnership with our suppliers, because we realize with our suppliers project, and we support them on the dynamic of the value system. But we think this process don't have to be forced, because all involved actors should be collaborate together and create a balance of the entire supply chain. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elena. And let me now ask the same questions to Bertrand Swiderski. And before that, I think, Bertrand, you're one of the great sort of actor of sustainability. You're not only talking and campaigning, but you're a great actor. And for those of you, I mean, Stella, you need to really go into Bertrand Swiderski LinkedIn page. He has short 40-second snippets video where he goes into a store with a testimonial and what it is about packaging, about date marking, some very practical examples. So I think for all of those of us that are more in theoretical Brussels, these are very practical examples that I recommend all our viewers to go and check out Bertrand's LinkedIn page. Voila, Bertrand, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Christian, and thank you for this. And you are welcome on my LinkedIn page. You are welcome, and thank you, Commissioner. It's an inspiration. Your speech was inspiring, and I will try perhaps to show and to explain how we can be concrete when we are a retailer, and how we can concretely be in front of our consumer. Just to start to tell you that food transition for all, it is one of our purpose today in Carrefour, and it means helping our consumer to consume better, choosing healthier food and sustainable products at the right price. We call that food transition for all, and it is our major challenge. It is to make healthy and sustainable food accessible to the greatest number of people. You know, when you are a consumer and you want to come in Carrefour, it's written banana on your shopping list, and you have to leave our shop with a sustainable, a fair trade, and organic banana. It is our challenge, and we believe that food is one of the most powerful levers for meeting the major challenge we are facing in our society and also in our planet. That's why retailer and manufacturer all together we are we've got a great responsibility for the future. And also we believe that we have to do it, but not to do it alone. And we have to do it with you, and we have to do it with our local government, and we have to do it with all our competitor, and with all the manufacturer. We have to lead all the transformation collectively, involving all our business partner, all our consumer, and I can give you some example where the consumer is key in the transformation, and we have to involve the consumer in where we want to go. And this is a challenge in store, because sometimes our consumer, then when they are in a meeting they always want to protect the planet, and they always want to have healthy diets. But when they put their hand on the trolley, our trolley in a supermarket, they are very different. They are very different, and it is the challenge we have every day for our 3 million consumer daily in France. What do we do? How we can do? And our method is really to implement the food transition for all in store. It is to translate commitments in concrete action. And I want to give you some example. Firstly, we decide to label with the Nutri-Score all our products. I'm sure you know this Nutri-Score, and we've got the commitments to apply this Nutri-Score in all our products. It's like 7,000 products in the world before next year, and it is a challenge, because when you do that, you also have to redefine your recipes, and before the end of next year, we will redefine 6,000 recipes of our products with less fat, less sugar, and we've also removing 100 controversial materials. And just to tell you that labeling our products, it's not only just applying a label on the product, it's also redefining recipes. And it's also using a list of controversial materials to make sure they are controversial, and to make sure the consumer is understanding this list. And we want to do that also on the eco score, on the environmental score. And I'm sure if we do that, if we apply a score to all our products, it will change also recipes, and it will also transform our supply chain. And what we are facing also another challenge, and you mentioned it in your speech, as the best before date. We extend the best before date of 400 products. And we remove some best before date, because we are allowed to do it by the Europe, and we remove from sweet, from sugar, from vinegar, from oil, but we are not allowed to remove the best before date of the rice, pasta, and because the consumer, they don't want this best before date. They don't want to waste this type of food, and if we are allowed to do it, we will do it, and we can be the first one to do it if it is possible. And on packaging, we are challenged on packaging, and we've got some commitment on packaging, like many manufacturer, many retailer. 100 packaging recyclable, reusable before 2025. We want to reduce by 20,000 tons plastic in our packaging before 2025. We already removed by 6,000 tons the plastic in our packaging, and the most irritating packaging for us, for the consumer, sorry, it's plastic on fruit and veg and bakeries. That's why we decide to remove all the plastic from our organic products, and today 80% of the organic products in Carrefour, fruit and veg organic products in Carrefour, are plastic free. But it is a challenge. It is a challenge because we have to use cardboard, and we have to use also, for onions, for garlic, and we have to use like textile stuff. We call that lyocell, but we don't know if lyocell, it is a bioplastic, or it is a plastic, or it's not a plastic. So we need this type of decision from Europe to make sure that we are on the right direction. We want to go fast because we've got the consumer with us. We want to go fast. We need to have some concrete roadmap from Europe, and to make sure that we are taking the right decision when we want to remove the plastic from our products. And also on biodiversity, it's one of our main stakes. We want to grow our sales of organic products, and we are also facing a challenge because we have not enough organic production and in country where we operate, and so we need to involve a new farmer. We need to accompany farmer to convert themselves to grow organic products, and last year, for example, we worked with 2,000 new farmers to make sure that we've got some commitments with them, 5-year commitments. We've got some commitments on price. We've got some commitments on volume to make sure that they will convert their production to organic products. So you see, we've got so many challenges because we've got the consumer with us. The consumer is with us today, and before it was different. We didn't have the consumer with us, and today he is following our food transition. So if we work together and if our roadmap is very clear, we can accelerate. We can accelerate together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bertrand. And actually, not later than yesterday, I think also important for the Commission, we were in discussion with IFOAM Organics Europe to discuss how we can indeed accelerate the organic transition. And Bertrand, I will definitely come back to you because your company and others, of course, can play a major role, working with organic farmers in some geographies in Europe where maybe the penetration of organic agriculture is not as strong as in others. So let me turn to Veronica, and your company is, of course, all over Europe, working to change the behavior of consumers, but also through the intermediary, your primary customers, cafes, hotels, restaurants, and also small businesses. Tell us your story and your asks.
Well, thank you very much, Christian, and congratulations on the launch of the Sustainable Commerce website. I had a quick look in the morning. It looks really, really interesting. And thank you very much, Commissioner Kyriakides, for the very engaging and very encouraging words in your intervention today. Indeed, Christian, you're right. So Metro is a wholesale business. So it is our core. And as a wholesale, we are globally represented in 24 countries. And in addition, we are also represented with our food service distribution in another 10 countries. Our core is to partner with many small and medium-sized companies and their success actually is our focus. If we look at today's situation in the sector, it is challenging. So we all know how the pandemic has affected the hospitality sector, and we all hope to see a positive development there, but it might take time. One thing, however, which is visible is that consumers or clients, I put it that way, guests in the hospitality sector are much more open to sustainable products, to healthier products. Everybody is so much more keen on healthier lifestyle. And we as a company actually recognize that sustainable business is a strong driver for our success already quite a long time ago, so decades ago. It's one of our company's guiding principles. And we firmly believe that only a sustainable company can be successful over the long time. As a food company, obviously, we have a great responsibility towards our customers, our employees, our business partners, our stakeholders. But we have also one very interesting dimension of responsibility, helping the hospitality and HoReCa sector to transform their attitude. Because, a lot of great examples are visible on the consumer packagings. When you give a 50 kilogram of rice or a large packaging of something to a chef to transform it, what he or she mostly cares is about the great meal they can produce and offer to you as a client. They need to have the knowledge how to deal with products, how to source products in order to make sure that the menu on the plate is sustainable. And investing in sustainability is a very solid, actually, has a very solid business background. It's not only about the environmental footprint or the social footprint, although they are super important for us. And we see that investors are going more and more in this direction. They're asking more questions. We see that there are opportunities to improve efficiency in our own operations through the sustainability lens. We see that customer awareness of environmental and social issues are growing, and the demand for more sustainable and healthier products is also positive. In that aspect, a couple of years ago, we took an objective and wanted to see actually if you look at the economic, environmental, and social impact of our business, are we doing good for the society? Are we as a company producing positive value for the society beyond the obvious financial metrics? And we took a, I would say, unbiased look into this topic together with the external providers. We found that we actually, for every euro of negative impact to the environment and society, we create €3 value for social, ecological, and economic level. And being a food company, of course, the biggest impact or the biggest environmental footprint is something where we want to improve further. And actually, we see in the Farm to Fork strategy a lot of good elements of the strategy which can help us to do that. For example, improving our supply food chain. It has potential to provide a common horizontal framework to ensure coherence across the wide range of EU-related policies. And we see that we can actually reduce additionally the operational footprint while helping citizens make healthy choices. In this regard, we believe that cooperating, building better sparring partnership with suppliers, with providers, with local farmers, with regulators is essential. And one area where our understanding is that the strategy can be helpful is to equally inform all players. Today, we're talking about retail and wholesale. Please don't forget the hospitality sector. Food service distribution is very important area. In normal times, we see how dining out was growing for decades. We very much hope to see this positive trend returning, even probably with more intensity after the pandemic. And for example, we consistently work to secure transparent supply chains with strong local backgrounds to support the communities around our stores and to shorten ways which help us bring down CO2 emissions. These dimensions of the Farm to Fork strategy need to become more visible, need to be better communicated. Another area where probably one could think that we can accelerate and the Farm to Fork strategy can be faster is in the offering the innovative foods that go beyond today's choices, including alternative protein products from algae, insects, or plants, which cut the use of resources as well as the emission of greenhouse gases significantly during production. And in many cases, they're also healthier for the consumer. So this kind of innovation, we are very engaged. So Metro is a front runner there. And we would like to see a little bit faster implementation, more open mind, and more energy behind it. So we are very much looking forward to cooperate with you on that.
Thank you very much, for this insights, and indeed from a very important sector, and I think a sector, of course, your companies and your customers who was suffered significantly over the last 12 months because of the closure, and indeed we all hope that restaurants, cafes, will open up again, soon. I think they are fundamental, just as the little shop are essential to as the lifeblood of our villages and town centers and communities. So thank you very much for that testimonial. So Stella, back to you. I think you have a few more minutes with us before you have to unfortunately leave us. But what is your take from what you've heard, or some concluding remarks or parting thoughts you want to give us with that will enable us to work and indeed contribute positively to the strategy?
Thank you, Christian, and indeed listening to everyone, it's been a great pleasure for me, and by listening. For myself, it's important because every time I'm also gathering information, I'm learning, I'm taking another perspective, and I think that this is about the way that we need to work. You started off by speaking about the pandemic, and this requires a team effort, and a crisis can only be met if we work as a team, and this is how we have been working in the Commission to deal with this unprecedented health crisis. And this is never about working in silos, but you need to work horizontally especially when we are dealing with a situation like COVID-19. And you spoke about the criticism, and I believe criticism is part of what we do. It's expected, but it's also welcome, because you need to hear input in order to be able to have an idea of where you're actually going. I just want to take an opportunity, if you will allow me, for half a minute and less, to say that because a lot of what was mentioned in the interventions today talked about solidarity, about working together, about coordination. Possibly one of the best examples is the EU vaccine strategy, of how through investment and of research and production, we now have 4 safe and effective vaccines, and the issue of equity, so that European citizens are vaccinated across Europe in all member states at the same time, irrespective of the size of member states. And I think that this is a message that we can also use, and we need to use when moving forward with the sustainability of food and the implementation of farm to fork. The issue to do with collaboration, we need to work together, and this is why I really appreciate having the opportunity to hear from you today. I will definitely look at Bertrand's LinkedIn page. I think that was an invitation that cannot be resisted. I agree with all that has been said about needing to help consumers to choose better, and a lot of this is education, and I was very interested to hear in many of the initiatives that are ongoing and that you're undertaking. It needs to be a team effort. This cannot be you and us and consumers separately, but this is one feeds into the other, and we need to work together. You mentioned the front of pack labeling and the Nutri-Score. I just wanted to just share with you that, of course, the decision to go with the mandatory front of pack labeling came because it was a request from citizens and from stakeholders. And our proposal will be based, as I said in my opening remarks, on an impact assessment, and additional research by EFSA and the Joint Research Centre will be having input, and we will be coming up with a final proposal by the end of 2022. The best before date was mentioned. I think this is also very important. There is really sometimes almost a misunderstanding between, and the misuse between the use by and the best before dates, and we need to look at this, and this leads to a lot of food waste. In fact, food waste was and food loss and food waste was in my mission letter from President von der Leyen, so it is a priority for this commission, and we will be submitting a proposal for this for the revision of the rules by the end of 2022, and EFSA is developing a risk-based approach to be followed by food business operators. We are in this together. We can accelerate together. You mentioned, Veronica spoke a great deal about the hospitality sector. More than for sustainable food choices, it also comes back to the need of people to get together safely. And I'm hoping that as we move forward with vaccinations, we will be able to see the safe opening of economies as well. Healthier lifestyles, everybody's keen on them, was mentioned. I'm just going to say one word, because the way I see health and health and food safety, which is my portfolio, it's not two different parts of my portfolio, but for myself it's one. One feeds into the other in the concept of One Health. So, for example, 2 months in early February, we adopted Europe's Beating Cancer Plan, a game changer for cancer across the EU. For the first time, we have funding through EU4Health for this. And of course, in Europe's Beating Cancer Plan, the issue to do with healthy food, healthy diets, healthy choices is a very big, important part of prevention. So when one is discussing different projects, I would say, and pillars of my portfolio, you'll see that there is one feeds into the other. And this is possibly also interest and the challenge when having meetings like this with you, because I'm constantly thinking how I can feed this into different parts of what we do. We will be following science-based approach in what we put forward. I again stress that the launch of your new website really focuses on sustainability. You're active members in the task force for the code of conduct. And may I just say that I very much look forward to be able to holding further exchanges with you over the coming months, and to thank you sincerely for the very proactive and positive work that has been done throughout this pandemic and moving forward, because we need to move forward, and we need to move forward in a way that shows that we are able to take in many of the messages that have come to us throughout the last 1.5 years. So once again, thank you all very much for the opportunity today. It's been a real pleasure, and I hope that we'll be able to have also some face-to-face and not only virtual meetings in the coming months. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stella and Commissioner. Very much appreciate that you have been with us for the launch of this website, which displays quite a number of good practices. Very pleased to see indeed that we very much share the overall direction of travel, issues of consistency between the various policies and ramifications. I mean, you mentioned the link between health and food and nutrition, which of course is very obvious one, and which you embody yourself by being in charge of this. In another one that I would probably mention as well is the link and consistency between your portfolio and all the policy around agriculture and the common agriculture policy as well. There's been lots of talks about food resilience and transformation of food systems, moving towards. I know part of the strategy also moving towards plant-based nutrition. So of course that will also lead to some discussion and need for alignment on how you promote a certain agriculture production in that regard as well. So and I know the path towards that will definitely not be easy. Of course, not least because at the end of the day, and this is where we come. Not every consumer is already prepared to do that. Although we see a significant growth towards more plant-based foods. So I think that for that you have our full support for ensuring this alignment, because of course what we need as economic operator is a consistent and predictable legislative and regulatory and policy environment. You've heard from the various examples where indeed areas where you can help, where actually a lot of people are looking at Europe and therefore at the European Commission with its power of initiative, to drive some of these of these standards, of these rules. So much appreciated your participation. I know you have to leave us. We have another 10 minutes to debate among ourselves still, but really wanted to express our gratefulness for having participating in the launch of our website. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. So we have another 10 minutes to sort of fill the hour. Not that we have to fill the hour, but to have an opportunity to have further little snippets of examples of what you do. So what you've heard. So I will give each of you, and I will start with Veronica. Opportunity to share some thoughts or maybe some further example of what you have done, what you're doing. Some of the challenges maybe you're facing with your customers. Some of the things that has struck you on the website or within your own practices that you want to share with our audience. Which, by the way, I think I have lost the count, but I think probably more than 200 people have signed up for this website. So it's an opportunity to share with them your thoughts or example. Veronica.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christian. And indeed, I think it feels really encouraging to see the energy in this conversation. Many of the topics which were touched by the colleagues, would it be reducing food waste, would it be introducing short supply chains, would it be improving packagings, I think they're very close to our hearts. But I'd like to mention one thing which is probably unique about Metro, because we indeed have a strong focus on supporting customers and empowering small and medium enterprises. We have prepared a document, or it's actually a toolbox, which is called My Sustainable Restaurant. And it's a guide for professional customers, which we are offering for free. So every of our customers can have it, to help them run both profitable business while becoming more sustainable. And we are touching. I beg pardon?
Is that on the website on this?
We'll be happy to share that. I think at the moment the fact that the pandemic is putting pressure on that sector is not helping, but I think we'll be happy to also assist in the further launch, and probably also provide Eurocommerce with this kind of content. And because it's a very simple guide, it's interactive, and you can start from the back side of the restaurant through the front room and touch every area and include topics like, how can I reduce plastic packaging? How can I avoid food waste? How can I save energy in my business? How can I source more responsibly and offer more innovative menus? So this is an area where I believe we have a role to play, because many of this great content does not always land on the table, so to say, of a restaurant owner. And this, for example, this work together with the countries led us to a very interesting example. So we all know how regional products are critical and how they are valued in the restaurant business. And I'll mention here the example of our operation in Croatia. There is one very specific kind of cattle in Croatia, in Istria. It's called boškarin meat. And together with the customers, we discovered this meat, so to say, for the hot cuisine, for really high level of cuisine. And in that way, I believe, together with our partners, we are saving this breed from extinction. So since 2016, Metro Croatia has been working with farmer who is committed to the preservation of boškarin cattle. And that's one very simple example how cooperation between farmers, wholesalers, and local authorities can really bring to great value from sustainability, but also for preserving the culture in the country, which is important for us.
Thank you. That's a great story. I think I'll definitely look that up. I'm certainly I've learned one more thing again this morning. Elena, a story from Esselunga.
Yes, in the last years, Esselunga developed many projects focused on food sustainability, and now I'm going to talk about some of them. I'd like to talk about our best practice, 3 projects. The first is the Superfoodies project, the second is the Banco Alimentare project, and the last but not the least is the Tourpack Esselunga. The aim of the first project is to raise knowledge of the customers about our best food industry practice and raise awareness on what is going to eat. At the same time, we promote a correct food storage knowledge in order to reduce the food waste at home. In fact, the Superfoodies project was born to bring child closer to the world of the fruit and vegetables in funny way. The Superfoodies are 24 small superheroes toys made by recycled plastic that guide children and parents to discover properties of each product, correct way of storing food explained in our catalog, and daily portions for body needs. We realized a catalog, and this catalog was distributed in all Esselunga markets for free for over 1 million copies. And then we created some labs for children in our markets, where we explain what and how to eat well. We involved 2,000 children in our labs. The second project, named Banco Alimentare, start 15 years ago. Esselunga started a collaboration with the Food Bank Network to donate food to most needy, and now Esselunga is able to donate 1,500 tons of products per year, corresponding to over 3 million meals. Until 2019, Esselunga donated only preserved products because it's easy to collect and to transport. But from 2019, the aim of this project is to include also fresh product, because this is also a way to raise the contents of animal proteins in the diet and keep it balanced. In fact, given products come from milk and ham and vegetables and fruit and meat line in our markets. The project involves not only social and ethic aspect, but also food waste reduction. And the last best practice, last project is Toolpack Esselunga, because in our view, sustainable products means to measure and analyze the impact along the entire cycle of products. And for this reason, we measure the environmental impact with the LCA method, scientific method. We started with a pilot project on fresh pasta producer in our Parma plant, and then we analyzed our private label products made by our suppliers. Today, we carry on the eco-design analysis with LCA to choose new packaging through a design platform called Toolpack Esselunga. And in this process, we involve our packaging suppliers and the customer, because we inform the customer about our choice on the pack. For example, one result in 2019 was the replacing of the PET milk packaging with bio-based package, totally realized with plant origin material. And we use the same process about our fruit and vegetable products, for example, tomatoes or apples. We replace the plastic packaging with a solution of cardboard and PLA. The collaboration is important and essential for this project because we involve customer, packaging suppliers and customer. So it's important to improve for us the value chain.
Thank you very much, Elena, and for all these examples. And we definitely will come back to you to make sure we capture all of those in all our documented cases. So we're reaching the end of our time, but I want to give 2 minutes to speaking time to Bertrand. And sorry for the 2 minutes, but anyway, it's like in political debate in France. You've used already quite a number of minutes before, so now we give you 2 minutes to give it.
Don't worry. I need only 1 minute. Just we've got many challenge, all of us, and I would like to highlight free challenge, and because we've got 300 people in this webinar, so I think we are enough to face this challenge. First one. Consumer, they want us to be transparent. They want to know everything about the products. And we are using certification, many certifications since 20 years. And we are also using blockchain, transparency on blockchain. So my question is, what is the future of certification in our food, in the food sector? Where do we go? Do we go to the full transparency and with blockchain, or do we need to continue on certification? And we need to find to define a roadmap on where do we want to go in terms of the food sector. First challenge. Second challenge, animal welfare. It is a challenge in France. I know it is a challenge also in many other European countries. And we define a labeling for poultry mainly, and on our chicken we use this label. And we are trying to share this label with all the European countries, just to make sure we do not have to rebuild another label or something like that, and to make sure that we can use this type of label and we can work with a European partner. So if you want to work on the animal welfare label, please contact us. And the last one of our challenge is CO2 in our supply chain. Every retailer they want to reduce CO2 in their supply chain. We call that Scope 3. So every retailer will define a new tool to ask their supplier to reduce CO2 emission and also to report CO2 emission. And Walmart, they create one, and you will see we've got our, and I'm sure every retailer will create their own tool. Perhaps it could be a good idea to have the same tool for everybody and for every retailer in Europe. That's it, Christian. I have tried to do my best to keep all of this in 1 minute.
Brilliant. Thank you. Like always, I knew you would meet that challenge as well. And you've put three very interesting topics, certainly the scope for further conversation. I mean, the discussion on Scope 3, I mean, remind me from all the discussion and on GRI and some of the other organizations that work on these sort of issues. So I think there's still a long way to go. And I saw on Belgian television a few days ago on the ECO scheme that you referred to as well, also requires. I think we're more advanced on nutrition labeling than on eco labeling. I'm sure. So there is work ahead in order to provide that transparency and proper evidence-based labeling schemes and certification scheme, because I think that's very important from the point of view of trust. And if there is one element that is core for us and where we strive or fall as consumer-facing business, is the issues of consumer trust. I really want to thank all three of you, Elena, Veronica, and Bertrand. I think you've made this debate very interesting. I've actually already received on my messages from some viewers very nice webinars. So I think we improve our formula every time. I think it's been an hour well spent. Certainly from my perspective, I hope you find it as well. I want to thank all our viewers, or indeed close to 300 viewers that we had today from all over Europe. I think all webinars or policy talks are always open to all our friends that want to attend. And on that, I wanted to fix you our next rendezvous is already next week, where we have more on economics with Commissioner Gentiloni, and we will do that together in partnership with the World Retail Congress. So tune in on Friday next week for our next policy talk. But on this note, I want to thank all of you for your participation in this one. Lots of work on Farm to Fork, but we're engaged. Hopefully the website that you will see shows the long-standing experience and the continued engagement by the retailers and wholesalers in this very important matter. On that note, have a good day, a good end of the week, and a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.